Hi, I'm Kirsten D. Samuel, Aftershock Recovery Method Coach, and this is my husband Dave. Last time we talked about how did we start to reconnect. In this section, we wanted to talk about the importance of individuality and being together and how that plays out.
Right. I know a lot of people feel that if you're married, you have to agree on everything. And one of the lies that I saw was that a healthy marriage should never have any disagreements. My parents were great, and they loved each other. They had a good relationship. The fact that I didn't see them disagree made me think that they believed everything the same. And they were, two people that were doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. The difference is that Kirsten and I are different people. Right. We have different strengths, we have different abilities, and different weaknesses. Yeah. If we were both the same, then what's the point of...
One of us would be redundant.
Exactly. And so while we agree on fundamental things, mm-hmm. how we approach different issues and what we think about different things are not exactly the same. There's room to discuss and to be ourselves mm-hmm. and agree to disagree in a lot of things.
Right.
But in order to be able to do that, you have to talk about it, and right. you have to be willing to open up and say, well, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Right. And as we started reconnecting and as we started building our relationship, mm-hmm. and we were coming out of the deep wounds that we both had from the discovery of the porn, your struggle with porn use, my depression, we had some real deep wounds. And like you said, we had been hiding so much mm-hmm. from each other that when we started to reconnect, when we started to rebuild this relationship, we had to understand that those struggles were okay. I had seen that modeled in my growing up years, I think more often than you saw it. Mm-hmm. And so I was not as uncomfortable with the struggle as you were. I didn't like it because I realized I'm not one who really enjoys confrontation. Yeah. I won't back down from it as quickly as you do. And I approach confrontation very differently. Right. We both approach confrontation very differently. We had to, in those struggles, to realize that it was okay for us to voice our opinions. It was okay for us to be who we were, which again was building safety and mm-hmm. trust with each other. But that became very important in our recovery and rebuilding process.
I think one of the things that I defaulted to because of insecurities that I dealt with growing up was that if we disagreed, then my ideas must have been stupid. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, well, I'll just shut up now because obviously I'm wrong. That's operating from a place of woundedness mm-hmm. instead of saying, okay, my point of view is valid. Mm-hmm. It may not be right, but let's talk about this and find common ground that we can build upon.
And in some ways, I didn't necessarily think that, but I responded that way in some of the times when we would really struggle because from fractures in our relationship, mm-hmm. from wounding in our relationship, I was very hesitant to push you, to cross you, mm-hmm. because your Labrador personality is very calm until it gets pushed to a certain point. Yeah. And then when you would go into that mode of, well, I guess I'm just stupid, then I would feel like I had to manage your emotional state, which was not healthy. It was not functioning from strengths. You're very careful in processing things. And I tend to be more fly off the seat of the pants. I'm like, okay, just give me the information. Let's go. Let's do it. And when you didn't do that, I would get frustrated, not seeing that your strength was allowing space for us to process.
And that's just understanding each other's strengths and what we bring together. Mm-hmm. But you can't do that without talking about it.
Right.
And getting to know and understanding the person's strengths and abilities. Right. Because if I don't play to your strengths and you don't play to my strengths, then the team is not working as well as it could.
Right.
And it took us a while to understand that. A lot of that's just processing through what did we learn growing up in our family of origins, mm-hmm. and how do you bring that together and then work through those issues and in a constructive way.
Right. And it's realizing that the strength comes from not personalizing the conflict. Mm-hmm. But from saying, okay, we have an issue here that we're not agreeing on. And I think one of the things that has that saved us in this process of restoration and in this learning to communicate together was that we had made an agreement that when it came to major issues, we would not make a decision until we had come to a resolution. Now, that resolution doesn't mean that I got my way all the time or you got your way all the time. Because what we found in this process of being individual, allowing ourselves to state our opinions, to state what we believed and what we felt very strongly about, was when we got to that resolution, it was a better resolution than either one of us had come up with individually. As you think about developing a healthy relationship, this lie that we have to agree on everything, well, it's good to come to agreement. The fact that you should be thinking the same way about everything all the time, it's just a subtle lie, because we don't then get the differing views that help us get to that better resolution.
This is going to seem strange because it goes against conventional traditions, but I know we've talked about this, the whole at weddings where you have the unity candle.
Yes.
Where the two flames become one and it's one flame. Well, yes, there's a sense of that where the scripture talks about the two becoming one.
Right.
But the two does not cease to exist.
Yes.
And we bring our individual strengths to the relationship, which makes it stronger, which can also make it more difficult at times. But the individuals do not cease to be individuals.
Right. We become one. We didn't cease to exist.
Right.
And so that's a great illustration. Yeah. So these are just a few thoughts. One of the big things in restoring a relationship is the communication. We all struggle with it. We're going to have to learn and grow in this area as long as we are alive to live together well. If there's some way that we can help, please hop on over to KirstenDSamuel.com. Click the blue button. It allows you to schedule a free session, either an individual session for women's called the Know That You Are Worthy session, or the couples session where you can meet with us. We can brainstorm with you. We can hear what's going on and help you put together a plan. Don't be discouraged. We still don't have it right.
No.
This is something that we're going to work on for the rest of our life. The recovery is something that we're going to work on for the rest of our life, but it is worth it.
It is worth it.
So thanks for joining us. We hope this has benefited you.